Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 21st of December. Almost cutting the week short by a few days there. Anyway, let's have a look at the markets. Firstly, let's just look at the risk events that may be occurring today that could create some volatility in this market, and it's very light once again. We've had the Australian minutes out, policy meeting minutes out to there. Already released. So this afternoon we've got the Canadian retail sales. I will just look on this and see if I filter out any, or filter in any speakers. But let's just go to today, so it's less on there. There we go. It's such a light market in real terms for large parts of it, and it's a typical panicky type market where one moment you've got the risk on, risk off, and I'm seriously considering switching off some of my auto systems during this time. So it sort of gets to that point where you think, well, maybe one more day. Certainly by tomorrow evening it'll be switched off. Anyway, before then, no, there's nothing really. I'm just reading through here. Nothing here that is likely, apart from those retail sales for the Canadian dollar later. So let's get on and look at the markets. I'm starting off with the euro as ever, starting looking at dailies, and we've seen a bit of a bounce yesterday. As I said, in the morning, as much as it looked very soft, and I know someone took the Mickey, because I looked at everything and it all looked a bit soft yesterday. It did, but there we are. It's turned. Looks like it's turned the corner for now, but the other point was that it could stay well within range, and at the moment it's pushing up okay here. Looks like it could be on towards that sort of 13,500 area. I'm just looking at the short term here. Well, it did run into my double pivot and trigger me a short at one stage, but that was easily stopped out yesterday. But I did get a long trade signal come up on my auto system, which was quite good. For now though, we have got this higher low coming through, and it marginally bullish in the current situation where we're sitting. It's in chop on the big 4 hourly time frame, so if you're looking for any clear direction, well, it's certainly not there, and it could hang into this area until after Christmas now. That's the euro. The pound a bit more decisive in its movement, but again it still caught a bounce yesterday into the midday session, or just before it started bouncing in the morning there, running into its midday session positively, but not holding on to its gains at the moment. Again, when you come down the ranges, you can see the sort of support levels, the demand area sitting below there, but how long this will last, another question. It does look softer than the other markets, certainly the euro, and there is a potential trend break running through here, so potential trend break running. So looking a bit soft, the pound, dollar yen still in this horrible chop zone. I'm not even going to go through it. Aussie dollar yesterday, again it found a bit of a bounce later in the session. Actually, it was a bit earlier, wasn't it? It did run off at the 8 o'clock bounce, but then just consolidated. And these markets, to me, as they are like this, they're pretty much untradeable. You just sort of the risk is you see what's happen back here. You get caught into may trigger a trade in terms of a lower low or a trend break, and then next thing is it's finding some support and off it goes again. And the way this has been moving, it's directionless effectively. I say directionless, it's pretty sideward. Nothing to add there. Has put a little marginal higher low in on the shorter time frames. Canadian dollar, I was losing ground quite strongly against the US dollar in the morning, but partially recovered yesterday, but all the same, it did lose a lot of further ground. The US dollar here versus the CAD stronger into its monthly R1, just short of the monthly, the daily 500. At the moment, the way it's holding up, it looks like it could push up there. There's been some divergence across these highs here, and well, at some point it may just roll backwards. But for now, there's no, there's little in the way of signs of that happening. I'm looking for lower highs on the shorter time frames here for any cracks in the direction it's going. But for now, looks still dollar strength showing through here. Okay, New Zealand dollar, weakest of the bunch so often, and yesterday, well, it closed pretty close to its lows there, double bottoming though, and it's bouncing as we run into this morning. Through the Asian session there, it's got a decent bounce. Got a weekly pivot still above, it might draw it up, and if we just see a sort of the ping pong effect of going on through these markets leading into Christmas, it might manage back into its weekly pivot. Do I want to trade it? No, so I'm leaving it alone. It has got a slightly higher low coming through there with probably some divergence over the lows on the bigger time frame. It's also there's no divergence on the RSI there. Let's just check the MACD. No, not even on my aggressive. It's just on the shorter time frames and a bit of divergence, which looking to break at 67.32, which would set it trigger that sort of divergence trade from the RSI perspective. But okay, potential, as I say, but would I touch it? No. Other markets, Euro Yen, just a quick look at this. This is trying its best to push up there. We're seeing with the yen barely doing anything, the euro having some strength. It was at one stage it was the strongest of the lot yesterday, the euro, and well, it's making hay while the sun shines here. But it's consolidated markets again for me. I'm not interested in doing anything with that. So let's have a look at the commodities. Gold just come out a step here. So gold swung back south a bit yesterday, put in a sort of bearish pattern here. It's looking through this market. Well, it's bouncing off the weekly pivot on the 4 hourly. So one suggesting weakness with a lower high coming through on here. There's the weakness, but is the move over? Really, a break of that weekly pivot would be suggest yes. Where it's sitting at the moment, erring on the bullish side. When you come down to the short time frame, it looks much. I mean, we've got so many more candles, of course, to look at, but it just looks at much more bearish. But to say, it's the importance of multiple time frame analysis, or multi even. Anyway, yeah. There's the choke point really for this failing. The daily pivot just fractionally above price. So looks like a bounce here, might just get through a little bit and then roll. If it can break through that area, well, then it becomes more bullish for the day. Right, oil. He says, hopefully sooner or later getting oil. It's taking some time, it's requesting, it's not giving. I'm just going to check the lower time frame. There we go. So oil yesterday continued coming off there. It sold right off into the afternoon. Getting questions about oil in terms of where can I see it going? Well, I did look at the weeklies, and the weeklies really yesterday when I was looking at them and they still look quite softish in terms of this movement back into the 8 and 21 there. It sort of found a resistance and has rolled back. If you were looking the obvious areas, if it does come back, is that sort of 62.24 area, then the 200. But it's as fickle as anything, and it's a cartel ran market, and they can just say, well, we'll cut production. The next thing is oil's going up. So technically, you can do your technical analysis and get it sort of right-ish, only to find at times other steps are taken, someone said something and it's effectively manipulated. So the most manipulated, or one of the most manipulated things to trade out there, but it does give some half decent trades occasionally. But looking soft from this 4-hourly, and well, a break below the daily pivot may just trigger it something later, but too early to trade it at this stage. Right, let's look then across to look at the crypto market. Yesterday it's still very much looking on the weaker side of things. It did manage a bit of a bounce up, ended up positive. There is some support for Bitcoin at 45.56, 561 even. So it did find a bit of support off those prior lows. Bouncing quite strongly at the moment relatively, but again, is this risk off or risk back on again? So risk back on would be the answer immediately. Ethereum also doing similar case, back to its prior lows there, or some of its lows, finding support today, pushing up. I'm still not bullish on either of these. I'll just come back to Bitcoin. It could be turning the corner, but it's such a fickle market at the moment. All I can see is the lower highs on the daily basis, and if you come down, you'll see clearer lower highs, lower lows on Bitcoin. Ethereum, it's probably an easier corner to turn because it hasn't sold off quite so much in terms of potential. It's more of a wedge pattern that's formed on the chart here. Generally, a wedge on the downward move would suggest it would continue to the downside. But in these fickle old markets, it could pitch up for a little while at least. Ripple doing just that from a daily perspective. Managed a half solid day yesterday. It did pitch up really early in the day and then pulled back, and then spent the day regaining much of that, get those gains. Today, well, it's a bit of an inside bar at the moment, a break back. Well, it could just curl around a little bit. I'm still wouldn't be chasing it quite yet. I wouldn't be chasing it at all. I'll wait until it shows its hand. Cardano, again, another market which is sitting here consolidated around the lows. To me, it could be an easy step if it starts breaking that 118 area. Okay, that's the crypto side of things. Indices. Just look what's happened in CSI 300. Well, it's called a bit of a bounce. As I say, risk is back on by looks of things here. Gap closed from yesterday on the Nikkei 225. Still in a sort of weak area where it sits at the moment. This wedge is just sitting in the wedge, and that's it. So let's just draw that on. So it's a bit more obvious, he says. There we go. So it's just stuck in this wedge at this stage. Whilst it's in there, it'll probably just trade rangy. FTSE, good morning up so far. It's had a bit of a bounce after yesterday really selling off. In fact, today it's sort of all change, isn't it? It really is. The risk is back on into these markets, and we're seeing rallies throughout the DAX as well at this stage. I'm still steering well away from them. I will do until post-Christmas. I don't trust them at all. I think a lot of this, the volumes coming in here, I think are quite light relatively, and there's the potential still a rollover. The S&Ps have been sold in terms of the bigger money coming out on the analysis I do there. So sentiment is relatively weak, and it just goes down week after week in terms of long holdings. So regardless of what the trend's been doing, some of the big money's already out of their long positions, or quite a bit of it. Anyway, this again, bounce there at the moment. If things turn later, well, I won't be surprised if we see the low taken out. That we haven't properly tested that daily 100 at the moment, but could well do so. Now, Nasdaq has tested its 100, and again, just seeing if this is a bit of joy to start the markets, and then whether it will switch back. So it's certainly the risk appears to be on through all of these markets. Dow Jones futures here also pushing up this morning at the moment, but they're all sitting in a weak area. from what we're looking at here, it's made a new low by pitching through yesterday, giving us a lower. I don't know. It's actually pitched up higher, but to make it a messy movement anyway, it's sort of expanding outwards, which often, well, it's very difficult to work out which way it's going to go, but when it does go, it flies. So on an expanding wedge. Right, nothing else to add there. So if you've got any questions, fire away. Otherwise, I'm going to say have a great day. I've covered everything I want to cover. I'm just we've done the calendar. Let's just have a look at the bonds quickly. So up slightly today. We were seeing them lower yesterday, and well, they've again, this is a sign of a bit more selling on the bonds market. Let's just go to I'll do 5 days. Yes, there you go. So yesterday, really in the earlier morning, really quite low here. We haven't seen them below 140 for a while. Well, apart from last Friday, of course. But anyway, and then here we are today, pushing up a little bit at the moment. The stronger these go, though, of course, it does put that we could see the dollar gain from that. So just be mindful. Okay, no questions. I wish you a great day, and I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now.